Hey guys, Lytane here, and with the way Warehouse 12 ended, I'm surprised they made another one. I personally would have ended it at Warehouse 7, but that's just me. So today on Is It Worth It, we'll be looking at Warehouse 13. Alright, so there isn't actually a show called Warehouse 12, that was just a jest. This is a show called Warehouse 13 that was released all the way back in 2009. This is a show that got released on a channel called ScyFy. ScyFy is one of those ones that are on Foxtel that do their own original TV shows and movies, and this is one of them. Warehouse 13 is a show that spans 5 seasons, with each season having a big baddie or obstacle to overcome. The general plot is in the middle of Nevada. There exists a secret warehouse that is filled to the brim with artifacts. These are items imbued with powers thanks to either historical events happening to them, or historical figures using them, or even through incredible acts and feelings. All the artifacts can do amazing things, from Edgar Allan Poe's pen drawing life from a user to bring words to life, or H.G. Wells's time machine to send a consciousness back to the past, or even a dodgeball that continues to multiply until you catch it. Enter our main characters. Pete Latimer is a goofball with a heart of gold. He also gets vibes from people in situations that rarely steer him wrong. Micah Baring, the smarter of the two, with all the book knowledge you could ask for, along with a great ability of connecting logical dots. Claudia Donovan, the youngest member and the tech of the group. She constantly wants to go out on missions and prove her worth and absolutely loves the warehouse. Artie Nielsen is the leader of this ragtag group, and he is a history buff. He's been doing this job for so long that he's pretty good at guessing which artifact may be at work. From the 3rd season, another member named Steve Jinx joins him, and he is a human lie detector. He is Claudia's best friend, and they get paired up on missions often. Lastly, there is Lena. She runs the B&B where the others stay when they're not on a mission, but she also can read the auras of people and artifacts, which helps her catalog the items as they come in and make sure they stay in check. These people run around every episode hunting down all different types of artifacts and saving people, whilst also trying to stop whoever the bad guy is for that season, because everybody wants something to do with Warehouse 13. The story for this show, as you can tell, is a little bit silly, and honestly in the 1st season they take this pretty seriously. But as the show went on, they really started to let loose with this idea and just started to have more fun with it. The 1st season has its fair share of humour, but out of all the seasons put together, it is probably the darkest of all 5. Where the storylines are a little bit darker, it also makes for a bit more of an interesting show than the later seasons, which is why the 1st season is probably one of the best. It does have its fair share of humour, but honestly it feels like they missed out on a few opportunities here because they went a little bit more serious. To go with this, the evolution of the characters is pretty clear, and all of them go through this point where they become more likeable. In the 1st season, Micah is a really big stick in the mud. She knows what's going on and she's really smart, but when you compare her to Pete, who's like this fun-loving goofball, you can't help but just get a little bit annoyed with her because she's so droll. As the show goes on, you can see the change in her character and her personality as she comes to accept the more wacky side of things, and in doing so has more fun with the role. The acting in the show is great, with all the main characters being very fun and memorable. Each character has such clear personality and a way to fit in with both the narrative of the story and the team in general. They use similar archetypes as other shows of this nature, but with the inclusion of the magical side of things, each gets a fun little quirk that you wouldn't normally see in other shows. The best part about this though are the artifacts. Most of them are based off a historical event or person, and it gives you a bastardization of the history associated with that artifact. I honestly felt like I was learning things watching this show. It is also extremely creative to come up with something from history and then give it a power that makes sense. Due to the wide range of artifacts, all the cast gets whammied at one point or another, which is either dire for them or fun to watch. This allows the actors to do different things in an episode to show off more of their acting talent, from body swaps to possession to being evil. It also shows the strengths and weaknesses of each character, making them more three-dimensional. Each person has troubles in their life and each person has secrets, but they learn that they need the team and friendship if they want to get through everything. One thing that can be a little bit hit or miss is the special effects in this show. Some of them look great, and then some of them just look really god-awful. This is due to the fact that it is a TV show and thus has a smaller budget. It is also on a sci-fi channel, so that means it has even less of a budget than usual. Due to this being a sci-fi show, it adds to the campiness of it, so it's up to you whether you like it or not. I can really only imagine how expensive this show might have been with all of the actors. They have numerous different sets and locations, they're always doing different things, and then you have the artifacts and they're all special powers on top of that. That is a lot of money, so so I can understand why sometimes they cheaped out on some of the special effects. Each season, besides the fourth, is pretty short, being only 13 episodes long, so this is an easy show to go through. With each episode having one or more artifacts, it is fun to watch and try and figure out what it might be, and seeing as how they have all of history and even a few fables, it is hard to guess. A lot of the episodes fit in with a major storyline for the season as well, which, unlike a lot of other TV shows, makes it feel as though it has less filler and there's always something big going on, even if the show or the episode is about one artifact. Now, while each individual story is great, one area that the show severely lacks in are the major villains. They just aren't as compelling as they should be. The first season has Artie's ex-partner McPherson trying to steal the warehouse for some unknown reason, and it is pretty good. He is a smart and formidable foe, and you never fully know his backstory between him and Artie, which is great. The second has H.G. Wells running around with an unknown agenda, and once again, that's a good story with a few twists and an interesting, yet a little funny if you're me, conclusion. The third season onwards, however, just aren't that great. Walter Sykes is forgettable and underused, and I barely even know why he's doing what he's doing. Then in season 4, it starts off with Artie's darkness, and it has a strong beginning, don't get me wrong, but then it has a really bad and rushed conclusion. The final real bad guy is Paracelsus, and he is alright and he's interesting, but he isn't given enough time to really shine. The final season doesn't even really have a bad guy. A bit of a vague one, but I forgive that because the show knew it was going to end, so it instead went on to tie up loose ends instead of having a big bad guy to fight. One of the episodes that I really enjoy from this show is called When and Where from season 2. In this episode, Pete and Micah are chasing down an artifact that bears a striking resemblance to one that previous warehouse agents had already got. In order to figure it out, they use H.G. Wells' time machine in order to send their minds back in time to relive these events. I really like the change of time period and the use of time machines, and hell, even the artifact that they're hunting down itself is a very unique one in this story. But probably my absolute favorite episode is in the final season where 3 of the main characters get sucked into a telenovela. It is simply hilarious to watch and leaves me in stitches every single time. What's better is that when they are in the telenovela, everyone speaks Spanish. They must have practiced a lot for that. They bring in an artifact that lets them remember who they are, and whenever they touch it, this wind hits their face and you hear, "Ole!" It is so stupid and funny, but it's just such a great episode to watch. Fortunately, when this show was cancelled, they had a short season to wrap up everything, which is a saving grace that a lot of great shows don't get. Knowing it was the end, they went all out with the humour and silly plots, which were probably the most fun in the show. They also do give a satisfying conclusion, thank God, because that would have annoyed me if they didn't. They leave the show in a way that had all the main parts ended with a few little questions, but end on a note that has hope for the future of the show. If they ever wanted to come back to these characters or this universe to have more adventures, then they can without a problem. As if you couldn't tell from my review, I think Warehouse 13 is extremely high worth it. It has great characters, great storylines, great versions of history that actually teach you something while you learn, and it's just so much fun to watch. It has great humor and a fairly original concept that doesn't get seen all that often. The show is not without its flaws, however. There are some bad episodes in season 3 and 4, and the bad guys of the overall stories are pretty weak, but each episode in itself is usually pretty good. There are plenty of laughs to find, and with it being such a short show, you can easily smash through it. This is one of my top 5 TV shows of all time. It is ranked number 5. To find out the other 4, I'll eventually do them as episodes, so you just have to keep coming back and watching. Guys, please check out this show. I cannot recommend this one enough. I just absolutely love it and adore it, with each of the characters being so much fun, each of the stories being so much fun, and just go and watch it now. But before that, don't forget to comment below and tell me what you guys thought of Warehouse 13. Maybe you've heard of it, you probably haven't, but just write down what you thought about this show. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye!